Hello, today let's have a look to Judaism. It is one of the oldest monotheistic religions and was founded over 3,500 years ago. Jews believe that God appointed the Jews to be his chosen people in order to set an example of holiness and ethical behavior to the world. History of Judaism until 164 before Christ. The Old Testament. The history of Judaism is inseparable from the history of Jews themselves. The early part of the story is told in the Hebrew Bible, that is the Old Testament. It describes how God chose the Jews to be an example to the world, and how God and his chosen people worked out their relationship. It was a stormy relationship much of the time, and one of the fascinating things about Jewish history is to watch God changing and developing alongside his people. The birth of Judaism. The birth of the Jewish people and the start of Judaism is told in the first 5 books of the Bible, that is the Torah. God chose Abraham to be the father of a people who would be special to him. God guided the Jewish people through many troubles, and at the time of Moses, he gave them the 10 Commandments. This was the beginning of Judaism as a structured religion. From then on, Jewish worship was focused on the temple, as it contained the Ark of the Covenant, and it was the only place where certain rites could be carried out. The diaspora. Around 600 before Christ, the temple was destroyed. Many Jews were sent into exile in Babylon by Nabucodonosor, beginning the Jewish tradition of the diaspora, that is, living away from Israel. Roman times. The Jewish people were taxed and oppressed by a series of Roman rulers who neglected the practice of Judaism. Year 1. What is nowadays called the current or Christian era traditionally begins with the birth of a Jewish teacher called Jesus. His followers came to believe he was the promised Messiah, and later split away from Judaism to found Christianity, a faith whose roots are firmly in Judaism. From 1 till 70 Christian era, the Rabbinic Judaism. The rabbis encouraged the Jewish people to observe ethical laws in all aspects of life, and to observe a cycle of prayer and festivals in the home and at synagogues. Many Jews could not bear being ruled over by the Romans. They rebelled against their Roman leaders, but this rebellion was brutally put down, and it led to the destruction of the temple. Judaism at a glance. It is the original of the 3 Abrahamic faiths, which also includes Christianity and Islam. According to information published by the Jewish People Policy Planning Institute, there were around 13 million Jewish people in the world in 2007, most residing in the United States of America and Israel. Judaism was founded by Moses, although Jews trace their history back to Abraham. Jews believe that there is only one God with whom they have a covenant. In exchange for all the good that God has done for the Jewish people keep God's laws and try to bring holiness into every aspect of their lives. Judaism has a rich history of religious text, but the central and most important religious document is the Torah. Jewish traditional or oral law, the interpretation of the laws of the Torah, is called halakha. Spiritual leaders are called rabbis. Jews worship in synagogues. 6 million Jews were murdered by the Nazis in the Holocaust in an attempt to wipe out Judaism. Let's look now at some exercises. The first one is fill in the gaps. You can make it on your own, and then you can check it on your own, because these sentences have been extracted by the text I have read before. Here are some questions. You can try to answer first alone and then in couple. Who are Jews? What do they believe in? What is the Torah? And what does it speak about? Who is Moses? Try to describe what he did for the Jewish people. Explain what is the Ark of Covenant and why was it so important for Jewish people. Try to explain why Judaism is based on a revelation. Why are Jews God's chosen people? When did the first diaspora begin and why? Try to describe the birth of Judaism.